President Bongbong Marcos returns to the Philippines after a week-long trip in Switzerland. More people flock to Binondo to buy Lucky Charms and Chinese food for the Lunar New Year. And industry projections indicate another round of hefty price hikes for fuel products next week. The newsday continues. I'm Riza Diaz. President Bongbong Marcos has returned to the Philippines from the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. This is Marcos Jr.'s 8th foreign trip since assuming the top post. The president presented his economic plans and soft launched the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund during the event. 7 of the country's biggest businessmen accompanied him, along with several cabinet members. Marcos also met with the Filipino community in Davos prior to his return. The chief executive was invited to the forum on the sidelines of the ASEAN summits in November last year. President Marcos Jr. highlighted the young and skilled Filipino workforce in his investment pitch at the World Economic Forum. Gerald De La Peña with the report.
The changing dynamics of trade has revealed one thing about the Philippine economy, that there are emerging sources of investments. This is what President Bongbong Marcos told delegates of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. In his dialogue with WEF President Jorge Brend, Marcos Jr. said one of the country's strongest sources of foreign direct investments now is Singapore. In the past, these were China and the United States. The president explained that trade partnerships are becoming more regional.
I think there has been a consensus amongst the Southeast Asian countries, Asia-Pacific countries, that we have to build these partnerships together. And the idea was really that because of we need to encourage trade and to have these partnerships because we are coming into an uncertain world with the post-pandemic global economy.
He added that the government has focused on MSMEs to help push the domestic economy. Trade Chief Alfredo Pascual explained the importance of the country's WEF participation for the sector.
Ang isang mas malaking objective ko nga ay makapag-exchange ng ideas kung paano, halimbawa, tutulungan ang mga maliliit na negosyo, yung mga tinatawag nating MSME, ano ba ang strategy natin.
In selling the Philippines as an investment destination, the president put forth the young and skilled Filipino workforce who can speak English well.
The reason that I'm so confident about that is because we have this workforce. We have a very, very good workforce in the Philippines. We have the youngest workforce in Asia. You might be surprised to learn that the average age of the Filipino worker is 23 and a half years old.
For News 5, Gerard De La Peña, we are One News.
Over 100 overseas workers and seafarers were repatriated by the government in the last 2 weeks. Some 162 distressed OFWs have returned home from Kuwait, while over 200 more are set to be repatriated in 3 batches next week. Meanwhile, around 19 seafarers arrived in the country on Friday after being stranded in Australia for almost 3 months. The seafarers said they haven't received any salary following internal issues with the management that forced operations to stop. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Now, I'm Riza Diaz. Heads up motorists, another round of oil price hikes looms next week, this time with a potentially hefty deal. Unioil projects that prices of diesel would go up by up to 2 pesos and 50 centavos a liter, while gasoline could be more expensive by as much as 3 pesos and 10 centavos. An industry source attributes the increase to higher demand driven by China's economic recovery. Oil companies will announce final price adjustments on Monday. People continue to flock to Binondo, Manila ahead of the Chinese New Year tomorrow. Some goers intended to stroll to buy their favorite delicacies such as hopia along Ongpin Street. Fruit and vegetables are also being sold in the area, while some shoppers scarf for Lucky Charms. Meanwhile, the Binondo Intramuros Bridge is closed to give way for the Pyro musical event tonight. Motorists will also be prohibited on Jones Bridge in Manila and on portion of Banawe Street in Quezon. The massive migration during the New Year lunar holiday is sparking fears of a COVID-19 catastrophe. Let's watch this.
It's Lunar New Year, China's most important holiday, and for the first time since the pandemic emerged, people there can travel freely. Travel is expected to be no holds barred this year. People don't need to take a test in order to get on a flight or a bus. And for the first time, they won't need to quarantine once they arrive somewhere new. We're expecting 2.1 billion trips to happen during the Lunar New Year holiday. That's more than double we saw last year, but still slightly below the 3 billion that we saw in previous years. One of the great unknowns at this point is how exactly this mass migration is going to impact the COVID outbreak across China. We do know that there's already been a significant outbreak that's happened, particularly the biggest cities. The question is whether or not the rural areas have been fully exposed to the virus, and whether people going from cities like Beijing and Shanghai to rural villages and towns are going to be bringing the virus with them. The number of people who travel abroad is still pretty low at this point, given that many people haven't been home to see their friends and family, and the demand for international trips has remained low. Economists and analysts are expecting that this return to travel is really going to be buoyant, is really going to be helpful, getting people back out and spending once again. If the number of infections increase significantly, it could have a dampening effect on the economy for the next couple of weeks. This is the year of the rabbit, and China watchers do expect that the economy is going to take off after the Lunar New Year holiday.
Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.